Alrighty then, my rule of chums, it is I, Daniel. You may call me the pop culture dude, and I know that it's been a while since I made a Sonic the Hedgehog video. It honestly feels like I've made like 1,000 videos at this point, because obviously that's like most of the majority of you people subscribing to this channel in the first place, just because my Sonic the Hedgehog content has been like blowing up. And don't get me wrong, like as much as I do enjoy Sonic, I just times wanted like take a break of other video ideas. Like I made like 4 non-Sonic videos, like Clifford, the Riddler bloopers video, the Mask, the Space Jam: A New Legacy movie review, and sadly they did not reach over 1,000 views compared to the Sonic videos. Wah wah wah. But technically, besides that, for me, in order just to get like genuinely back on board for Sonic the Hedgehog videos, it's based on my own happy, natural decision that doesn't feel forced. So that's why for today, in my community post where you guys voted for my Sonic Monopoly game after I make my board game review of the Mask, why not, we decided to go over the Monopoly Gamer of Sonic the Hedgehog. So let's go review this boxing, you little clickbaiting, cash grabbing piece of media on my YouTube channel, and put on our red sneakers into the world of Sonic in the form of Monopoly. Yeah! And then we get a closer box art look of Monopoly Gamer, Sonic the Hedgehog Edition, Battle for the Highest Score, and it shows the main central characters that have been fan favorites since the 90s, and you can get to play as these 4 fan favorite characters: Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Nipples the Enchilada. I'm just kidding, it's Knuckles the Echidna. And you even have Dr. Eggman himself as the main villain, as usual if you play the games. And for the board game, is for ages 8 and up, which are only like the 2 to 4 players. Well, it depends how many players you have. It's developed by Hasbro Gaming and Sega. And what's interesting about the box art in the back, it shows the display of the entire board game. If you're familiar with the concept of Monopoly, yes, it does involve some money, but it's rings just because it's based in Sonic. And if you're not familiar with the Sonic the Hedgehog lore, that's what it's mostly based on, where it has all the levels, all the items, and even the fan favorite villains as well. So it's definitely more for the fans of Sonic. They even done a similar thing with Super Mario, but it's obviously Super Mario Edition in comparison. But it shows like all the cards as for like the land zones, the character tokens, the power-ups, even 2 double dices, the character tokens, and even some Chao tokens that you might need to face the boss battle, which is absolutely the card. So I'm going to be unboxing this whole thing in the speed of sound. And voila! What do we have here? We got ourselves the title cards for Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles. This is the starting space where you have to roll the dice, where it goes from like even up to 6 spaces, and where you see the sticker dice where it has like a boost pad, it definitely has some spikes and some rings. If you take a look at these character abilities, it shows the boost abilities of all their special abilities. Like for instance, if I roll as Sonic, for example, I could double the roll as Sonic, where he eventually just goes, and then you have to drop these rings. And basically these rings, just like in the game Monopoly, you decide to put like a trail in the path of these cards. And speaking of these cards, you see the ones that are based on every single zone from Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's definitely inspired by the 3D Sonic Generations game from all the Sonic games from the Sonic the Hedgehog lore. And once when you land on a space, you either got the choice to either rent the ring, like you own this space, or eventually you would rent it with a color set if you want to add in like 2. And then there's some pretty interesting spaces. Like once if you add in any of these 4 big spaces, like the ring and the speed dash, it's definitely more like a power up. Like for instance, like if you play as Tails, if you go to like this part of the boost ability, you can steal like any 2 rings, and then you can just roll the dice at many of the spaces that you leave from all of your players that you're competing with. And obviously, if you land on the jail space, that means you lost a turn and you gotta wait until it's the next one, and then you gotta retrieve all your rings, and eventually you just lose them. And then for Knuckles, if you land on this space, the boss fight, it brings out these babies, and it brings out the card games. Like for instance, the first battle is Orbot and Cubot, and basically you have to earn to like many points to defeat the villains. And how you do it, you get to choose, depending if it's 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players. I'm not speaking any words correctly. So technically, you have to choose like any player to be your team sidekick or your team partner, and then you gotta roll the dice and eventually score how much points that you get. Like for instance, if you roll up the amount of space of 20 points twice for the rolling, and then once when you defeat the villain, you complete the Chaos Emeralds that you collected, and then you take these Chao tokens to bring like extra points for your high score as you keep it to yourself. And then it goes on, and then when you get to Dr. Eggman, who's the main final boss of the game, just like in the video games, you gotta roll up to 11. You gotta score 100 points after you roll the dice, and you gotta use it from all the scores of all the Chao tokens that you eventually use, including all the rings that you collect depending of how much space that you land on. And once when you do, if you roll the space like multiple times, like if you win up to 100 points, that means you win the game. But if you roll the dice but don't reach up to 100 points, that means you lose the game, and then the game's over where the villains win and the heroes lose. And that's pretty much the concept of the entire Monopoly board game. Even this game also has like a manual kit where it just goes to like every single instructions. It even goes like more in full details of most of all the skills and the ideas of the rings and the loops, where you land on the piranhas, where you lose rings, you go over the loop where you go a little bit too fast, and the fact it goes like every single detail that you have for yourself. And it even goes like to instructions of how to defeat all the villains, where you need your child tokens and then your villain cards and the spaces that you land depending what zone it is, and then you have to collect each of these chaos emeralds. And if you win the game as you defeat Eggman, you keep the Master Emerald as it scores 100 points, just like in the card game. And it shows like all the instructions, like you have to calculate the cards, the child tokens, and the rings, and then once you do all the math, and yes, it's kind of like school, but it's in a board game style, to choose like which one of these 4 players is the true definitive winner of this game. And even besides that, I definitely like the box art. It's definitely like very colorful, it's definitely fast paced, like in the words of Sonic, gotta go fast. And even for the rings that you have to like pop out, it's just like my Mass 3D board game, where you just gotta remove the Chaos Emeralds and the rings all at once. So definitely, it's so colorful, the fact that it has so much spaces, and there's so much variety and so much creativity. So trust me, if you decide to buy this game for yourself, you're gonna have nothing but a good time. So in conclusion, this Sonic Monopoly board game is a huge love letter to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, whether you are interested in the video games or what. So if you're a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, I strongly recommend that you should get this Monopoly game. Even if you're not a big board game player, I definitely recommend this just to play with your friends or family. You can get it on Amazon, Target, eBay, Walmart, whatever you want to pay for this board game at your local store, or if you want to get online. It depends however you like, and you'll definitely have a way past cool fun time. So anyway, that's it for my unboxing video of the Monopoly game. So let me know down in the comments if you want me to do more unboxing videos, whether that's Funko Pops, board games, toys, or whatever you're interested. Let me know in the comments down below. So that's it for today's video, and I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care now. Bye bye then.